Hey, what's up? I'm Michael.
And I'm Ryan.
And this is All Day Unpacked. And we are back counting down our top 5 defensive players who don't have a moment yet. And you're going to see a theme here. It's injury.
Yes, injury all the way. And there's some huge names out there that don't have moments.
Absolutely. But there's a few that are on our list that did play all season that were just criminally not represented. And that is the story of our number 5 player from the New England Patriots, Matt Judon. And there's a guy who's an absolute stud and no moment.
Was he was he out for any other reason? Is there any purpose to this?
I mean, I think again, like we talked about in the offensive video, they had to pull some players back, right? They couldn't just put out all the best players, in the first weeks. Otherwise, there'd be no selling point to the week 1 through 12 packs. If it was all scrubs, no one would want the packs. So there's going to be some big names in these packs, and Matt Judon is going to be one of them.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to number 4.
Yeah, number 4, again, a player who played all season and was an absolute beast in the middle. Roquan Smith, linebacker, Chicago Bears. This guy is really underrated. He's not just underrated, by all day standards. He's underrated, I feel like, across the NFL. I mean, he is a machine out there. He's fast side to side, and a ton of good moments, I'm sure, for them to pick from. And so, somebody who's going to be a good player to get and add to your collection.
He's where did he go to college? Georgia?
Yep.
He's a Bulldog?
He's a Bulldog.
Okay, so another defensive Bulldog. That's just
impressive.
Yeah,
you think about it. He's one of the kind of the originals that came out of there when that defense really started turning around and getting better. So now it's like that's all they churn out there is just like great defensive players. But he's kind of an OG, so... All right, number 3.
I'm excited to see a moment.
Oh, yeah. Number 3, a sack machine. Chandler Jones, formerly of the Arizona Cardinals.
Arizona Cardinals.
So this would be a Cardinals
now
moment.
Of the
not anymore.
Las Vegas Raiders.
Vegas Raiders.
Right. Well, I mean, if they go back and they get him, what if they just wait until next season? Then he's, his OG could be a Vegas.
Yeah, they could, but I feel like he's too big of a name. He's too good of a player to leave off.
Right.
I mean, the guy is always in double-digit sacks. He's like he carries that team when he's on that field. He made such a difference for them. He did miss a couple of weeks, I feel like, at the end, but I still think there were some moments that could have been pulled for him for him playing. So
the sneaky thing about him is he did wind up on a team moment in the picture. So you look at the Cardinals team moment, the $13, $14 one. He is on the picture of that, but he does not have his own individual moment. Yeah. So yes, to me, out of all these, given the circumstances, Chandler Jones is probably the biggest crime that was committed out of the bunch. Yeah. But there's definitely some bigger names coming.
There are, and these are going to be 2 injury names that we're going to see. But number 2 is the linebacker. The linebacker now switching to D end as he moves over to a different defense. But Khalil Mack, who has been again another stud, another sack machine, always into double-digit sacks, but unfortunately has been injured a lot lately, and so. No moment for him. He did play a few weeks in the season, but didn't, kind of got shut down, I think, around week 5 or 6.
I mean, did he make any outstanding plays that you can think of from
he had a few sacks, so I'm sure there'll be a sack or a pressure or something that they'll find in those first few weeks. But really, he didn't, he just didn't play a whole lot, so he just didn't have he had nothing after week, 12 to make the all-day moments, but definitely something earlier. So again, someone who we'll probably see in an early moment and get that Bears moment before we start seeing him in a Chargers uniform.
I would really love to see that game that he had against the Packers. I think it was a few seasons ago. I wish that could be. I wish somehow that they could bring that moment and put that into his rookie moment, because that performance he had, I think it was like week 1 against the Packers
Sunday night,
years back, where he just tore up the game. I mean, I think that was when he first joined the Bears.
It was his first game with the Bears, and I think the Bears ultimately lost that game. But man, it looked for a second there like he was just going to be this. I mean, you saw he was well worth that money they spent in getting him. So all right, and that leads us to our number 1 player, defensive side of the ball, who's missing, and that is Mr. Chase Young.
Yeah. What that dude is like unbelievable, and obviously he's going to get his chance, and when he drops, I think he's going to be worth quite a bit. I'd like to see like a really good rare of Chase Young.
Yeah, and there's a guy who we probably don't get a 2021 moment for, because I don't.
Was it week 1?
I think it was. I think.
Let's see. Chase Young, who has been recovering from a knee injury he suffered against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in week 10. We were way off.
10?
It says 10 here against the Buccaneers. So, yeah, he wasn't injured as far back as we thought. So
I thought he got.
It looks like there is a chance we could get a Chase Young here with the little bit of research and find out that maybe that's possible.
You know what's funny is I do remember now because he got injured basically the week before the Carolina game that we were at, and that's why I was thinking it was early in the season. So yeah, all right, well.
All right, so I mean, I don't know how far back are they going.
Week 1. I mean, it's weeks 1 through 12.
Are they going to try and go back to week 1? Yeah. I mean, I don't.
No,
know
the
exactly.
packs. I believe when I saw it, it said it's a rewind packs from weeks. They're doing like I want to say 3 drops, and the moments can have occurred anytime between weeks 1 and 12. So there's going to be 3 separate pack drops with different moments from weeks 1 through 12.
Right.
So he may not be he may be in the second or third drop. I have a feeling that these guys are going to get spread out over those weeks. But obviously he played, and so he will have a 2021 moment. So research on the fly. Yep. Thank you, Google Foo.
Yeah. So my question to you, kind of closing, is out of these 5, which one doesn't get a moment for 2021? And maybe you're saying Chase Young. Maybe that's what you're going with. But if you had to choose any of these guys that's not going to get a moment, which one for 21 is it going to be?
I mean, it would have to be Khalil Mack then, because I think he got injured earliest in the season, and he's on a new team. So, they could just wipe the slate and just not make him a Bear and put him straight away on the Chargers. So that would be my guess now that I've been publicly shamed here.
Got it. Well, I'd like to throw out one honorable mention. We did offense and we did defense, and I'd like to throw out an honorable mention to a special teamer. And that is, I think Justin Tucker of the Baltimore Ravens deserves a moment. And I think that, this dude is just a boss. The moment, wasn't it Detroit this season where he kicked the 66-yard and broke the field goal record? Yeah. I mean, if that is not a moment.
Oh, I mean, that'll be a legendary. I think that's going to be a legendary.
That's a legendary.
For sure.
Yeah, that might even be a fucking ultimate. I don't even know.
It's a kicker, so I'm still going to say legendary.
It's a kicker.
So, yeah.
Yeah. It's at least a legendary.
I would say, it's a legendary. Evan McPherson has a legendary for his walk-off kick, right?
Oh, my God, yeah.
And that was playoff implication. This was just Detroit and not, saving face from being the one team that lost to Detroit. But yeah, so I would say that it's a legendary moment. It is a league record kick, so yeah, I agree.
Right. If that's not a legendary, Presley Harvin's got a legendary, and I know he's a rookie, but for crying out loud, he's a punter. Come on. Yeah. So, all right. Well, I guess that closes it out for the defensive side. So we will see you on the next episode of All Day Unpacked.